hiring designers is very difficult. Pretty much all our clients find it very hard. So I think what we don't want to do is limit people. Lots of talent kind of would say, oh, well, I haven't designed products for educators, so I might not apply. What I would say here is like, yeah, amazing if you have designed products for educators, but if you haven't, we would still have to speak to you if you have done, enterprise or B2C or a combination of. Like, always tempt people in if you're trying to sort of drive a pipeline up. Hey, this is Gareth Webb, and you're listening to Breakout, a show that cuts through the hiring noise. Here, you'll get an unfiltered view on what early and growth stage companies are doing so that you can take their best practices, processes, and frameworks and implement them to help you build teams more confidently.
All right, Gareth, welcome back to episode 2 of our mini-series, Scout This. How are you doing?
Good. I like the title.
Yeah, a little working title, as you may remember from our last time.
Yep. No, it's good. It's actually quite useful exercise in general, just in terms of thinking about what best practice and making sure that we're consistent. And I think, that was the takeaway from me afterwards, was like, okay, how do we and our customers become more consistent? So yeah, good exercise.
And for listeners, what we're attempting to do here is put Gareth in the hot seat. We pick a company that, maybe had just received some funding, is building something, new and cool that you maybe haven't seen or heard of, talk through a little bit of the details. They're obviously hiring at the moment to some capacity. We'll break down a current job posting, give thoughts from a recruiter standpoint, see if we can give any pointers and help to either increase, the volume of applicants from the job posting itself, or kind of help build a little bit of an outbound motion to make sure they're getting a larger representation of the market and getting out to people that maybe aren't currently, interested or looking or saw their job application. Gareth, I just sent some details over to you. Today, we are going to take a look at a company called TeachFX. They're building, it's kind of cool. They're building an AI application that helps empower teachers and kind of creates better classroom dialogue and learning between them and students. They recently raised Series A, $10 million last September. That's a total of a little under $14 million to date. It looks like they have a team size of right around 30 people. 2 jobs currently open. They've got a head of product they're looking for, or product design, as well as an account executive. From what I can tell, It does not look like there is much of an internal people recruiting team. I can't tell for sure, but I feel like that from what you've seen, is that pretty common for this stage company?
Yeah. Series A, they may have a kind of generalist ops person or people TA type, but definitely not in the last 12 months, right? People are not bringing that higher in-house unless you're really, really scaling. So yeah, I think that's fairly common.
So job postings up, kind of relying on the inbound and maybe any word of mouth connections.
They may be using it. They may be using a partner or an agency.
Yeah.
Maybe us.
I'd be interested to get your take on the head of product design.
Cool. So there's a position here. So let's click in. You see the head of product LinkedIn, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, it looks like I see 95 applicants, and then the account executive below, I think it was like 40 or maybe 60 applicants.
So director level, head of product design. Okay. And then obviously their website's here. Let's just quickly see if it's on their site. Careers. Join TeachFX. Head of product design as well on their website.
What's your take on the volume there, that 95 number? I'm just curious. I feel like they vary a lot depending on, what's posted, but I just want to get your quick take.
3 months and 95 applicants is like interestingly low. So like, we get positions up, and I know clients have positions up for a day and they get 300, 400, 500 applicants, but maybe it's been well filtered. I don't know. Is it the same? It's the same copy. Okay. Yeah, cool. It's the same copy. So I'll look at this one because it's a bit bigger. So head of product design doesn't have like a leveling on here, but on the LinkedIn ad, it says director there, full-time director level. It's very funny. Like, first comment is a lot of candidates, senior candidates, do not love head of titles. It's a weird thing, but like, we've always found that like people want to know, what is it? Is it a manager, director, or a VP level? Lots of founders give out head of product design. I think what it is typically about, like, they don't know what level they want, and they don't want to have too much of a structure in place with the typical director, VP, SVP, C level. And so we'll read the description, but it's typically like an individual contributor who's leading the product design. So it's head of product design, but LinkedIn has a title, I think here, of director. We force that in our platform as well, of like, what level is it, just to help us kind of understand really what the position is, and then also tie in comp. So I think this is good. Like, empowers educators to learn, practice, and master the instructional moves that research shows deepen student learning and equity. So it's a learning improvement product. It's a nice opening line. Leveraging the best of computational linguistics, machine learning, and education research to fuel low-cost teacher professional learning at scale. So I think like that's enough there to hook somebody in to what they're doing. And if that's very much a mission-led statement, which I think is good. And then obviously they're talking about the technology next. So start with the problem, start with the mission, then layer in the technology. So we use AI over classroom audio recordings to provide unprecedented insight into their own instructions, discourse patterns. So yeah, it's good. And then they start with, we recently raised 10 million Series A. They list their investors, which is nice as well. I think like, it makes everything far more believable and real if there are details there. As a head of design and tech design, you'll provide creative leadership and direction of our innovative product. So I was going to comment like the website, it looks okay, but that's probably why they're hiring a head of design, just to make it look even better. And responsibilities, what might be a good fit? You might be a good fit if you, okay. So some of this, let's just go through here top down. So this is like what you're doing, lead the design strategy, fostering the culture of creative and critical thinking. It's a manage, mentor, and develop a team of talented designers, fostering a collaborative, high-performing environment. So it is potentially managing, doesn't really say how big the team is or anything like that, but that probably is because maybe they're scaling that out. And it's good. This is not like a list of, you must have this, you must have done this. Like it's a good opening pitch. It's believable. It's got specifics and it's explaining what you'll be doing. I think it's a good overall description. 5+ years of industry experience working in product design and user research, hone in on the key problems to solve, communicate exceptionally, manage projects, passion for your time. So education systems, interest in and be passionate about that. Preferably have experience designing products for educators. So it's got in there like the ideal, there's enough in there for us to extract ideal profile, 5+ years, leading, managing, ed tech. You could say something like, or other such industries and, other such backgrounds would be quite useful just because someone might be put off if they haven't done ed tech.
Useful for recruiters or candidates or both?
Yeah, both. Like candidates, if you're trying to just attract a candidate, hiring designers is very difficult. Pretty much all our clients find it very hard. So I think what we don't want to do is limit people. Lots of talent kind of would say, oh, well, I haven't designed products for educators, so I might not apply. What I would say here is like, yeah, amazing if you have designed products for educators, but if you haven't, we would still have to speak to you if you have done, enterprise or B2C or a combination of. Like always tempt people in if you're trying to sort of drive a pipeline up. But if it's a hard stipulation, just say it. Say like, you must have designed education products. Is San Francisco Bay Area / remote? So to me, when clients do this, it's kind of confusing. Is it like you prefer somebody in the Bay Area or you're okay with remote? And the same for the job here. I think it says San Fran, CA remote. To me, it's like, well, is that hybrid or is it remote? Like, what is it? So say that, because they have got another position here that says United States remote. So maybe they're like, I would interpret that as like they really want the person in the Bay Area. I'm guessing they're a Bay Area kind of group of people, founders. So yeah, I think it's a well-written, attractive position, nothing on comp, which they're in Cali. I would say that they should just stick a range of comp in there. That gives them another edge for being more specific.
So overall,
but otherwise I think it's a
pretty good, attractive, some opportunity for some clarity in a few spots.
Yeah.
In terms of addressing volume, could add some compensation ranges and a few more points on, some of the profile you're looking for if they're not within the education space. Any other notes on like, obviously when recruiters are speaking with someone in the position, they're going to get more context and information than just the job description. Anything else that you feel like you're looking for? Or do you feel like you have a pretty good idea of the profile to kind of get a quick and scrappy search going?
Yeah, my interpretation would be they really want someone in the Bay Area who's done ed tech. So if they came to us and we were trying to impress them with the initial set of matches, I would stipulate Bay Area, ed tech, design background, and start there, and then broaden out to non-ed tech.
Outside of Bay Area
design, heads of directors, VPs of design. I don't think they want a VP, otherwise they'd probably say it. So I'd probably be looking at heads of design, managers, director level folks. I would advise clients to try and give a leveling, because our research shows us that candidates like it. They like to know, even if you change that structure later on, I think when we have confidential discussions with founders and stuff, they're like, I don't want to give it a director or VP title because we might be bringing in a VP above them or a C-level person above them. It's a really negative way to think about things. I think everyone knows there's going to be changes to places. So just sort of go with a title that's going to attract the right person. And again, it's a transparency thing. And then the same with pay.
Got it.
So shall I share screen and have an initial stab?
Yeah, let's do a quick search. Curious to see how you might go about, pulling some initial candidates. Usually when we're doing these, right, you mentioned you like to kind of get some sample profiles over, even if they're, haven't been initially approached, just to calibrate and then go from there.
Sure. So head of design is there. Let me just check in here that is head of design department, head of design.
You typically start your searches in Recruiter?
No, I would initially go into platform, into LinkedIn network, Zoom info and LinkedIn Recruiter and other tools congruently. But I think most of our clients would start in LinkedIn Recruiter or LinkedIn. So I think it's a default where most people go, which is a good and a bad thing. So there's other titles here, right? Head of design, director of product design director, design manager, design principal. And that's going to encompass too many other kind of design industries. So then if we go to industry next, I would say software development. LinkedIn's changed this. Some people have different industry categories than others, which is kind of annoyingly confusing. Education, keywords, I would just put in there ed tech or educational technology or learning. And then location, San Francisco Bay Area.
And you mentioned starting there and then branching out as needed, right? Yeah. Do you want to see as tight of a...
And it says 5.
Yep.
It says 5+ years of experience. I'm going to say they'll probably want more. It'll probably want people to start with 7+, because I think that 5 years to me is 5+ years, or it says 5+ years of industry experience working in product design, user research. So let's go also keywords. Let's just edit to user research. So very quickly, it looks like 837. Let's take education out, because I don't want people who, right? So obviously we'll blur this bit out, but the numbers here are 666 candidates. I'll change that again to years. So years of experience we've got, years in current company. Let's look at people with 2+ years in their current company, or even 3. So they might be more open to a move. They've been around for a little bit. Let's cut the numbers down. So again, this is just the initial search. How can we get really, really tight on what we think they're telling us? And I think here I'm seeing some good people. Probably some are looking a little senior. What I didn't do here is here, current or past. It must be current title. So make sure that that's their current job title. That takes us down to 111. So that's a bit more like it. Head of design. Yeah, there's some good ones here. So that for me is I get the title, the location, the keywords. In software, let's add in internet as well. Internet typically comes up. Internet marketplace platforms. That could help, because quite a lot of that in the Bay Area. It doesn't actually increase the numbers. So it's 111. Is artificial intelligence a thing now in LinkedIn? No, it's not. Cool. So yeah, 111 is a good place to start in my and of those, 15 are open to opportunities, but obviously we tend to ignore that. We're trying to go after the best fit. So this person here has been at this company for 3.5 years as head of design, leading design, product design, brand marketing, user research. Let's check what that company does. Consumer healthcare product, which I'd say, and they are Series D. So yeah, to me, that's a good start. That's a good profile that we'd shortlist and target. Again, some more enterprise software, not necessarily ed tech. I'm seeing quite a bit of SaaS, just broader SaaS and enterprise. So then what I would do is cut this down and just focus on EdTech, software, internet, EdTech, nothing. So how many we got here? 21, head of design, Bay Area, 197, sorry. Keywords. Let's try EdTech again. No, it doesn't like that. No EdTech. I'll try education or technology.
Mm-hmm.
See, this all the time is like sort of explaining to people how there's so much inconsistency in sourcing methodology, because the nuances are pretty tight.
That's also assuming that they've included that in their profile somewhere, right? There could very well be people that just may not have included that would be a good fit too.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to clear these and I'm going to go back to like education here, education, primary and secondary education. So there's one person there's head of design and product, a California-based EdTech, and this person here looks good, director of product design at an L&D, so as an e-learning provider is the kind of sector that they have put themselves in. So there's how many have we got here? 23 Bay Area heads of design with educational L&D, e-learning. So e-learning seems to be the word, and higher education. So I would definitely start with these and then the other 100 that we had. So that's giving you good coverage. And then, years in current company, we could edit that to 2+ years. I mean, we could just get rid of that, right? So that someone could have started a job. It's just we typically don't necessarily look to do that, but that's 41 people.
So start broadening it that way.
Here.
Years of experience, location, a little less specific on some of the criteria and as needed, right?
Yeah. So I think that's LinkedIn. Let me see what results we get from a different tool or data source.
I think the benefit too with the data sources, I'm assuming most teams probably can't have a whole suite of data sources dedicated towards, helping to source or the search.
No, I mean, most companies, if they have an internal talent team, they're typically producing work on inbound and referral type candidates, like applications and screening them, which is just such a huge time drain. So doing this first gives you a much better chance of like knowing you've carried out the right process and the due diligence to zoning in the right people, which is obviously what we're sort of all about trying to build out here and like make sure that happens with each position. So let's again look at like which companies, education. So let's just click all education, and let's then look at contact in. Let's look for current role here. Design, just go with the main word first. So this is all people in design. Yeah, head of design. Okay, great. I don't want to put in a level here because they haven't given us a level. And then education, head of design, location, San Francisco. We got 24 people have come in from that search. So head of design in education in San Francisco, Zoom Info has given us 24 people, and they all look slightly different actually to what came up in LinkedIn, which is a good thing. The only thing I'm noticing here is that they might all be too educational, like they work in education. Let's get rid of education, company industry. Let's go down to software or technology or internet software. I mean, there's lots of different categories that it has. And again, this is all based on like how well they've put this data in, which is what I don't love relying on third-party data. We just use it to sort of make sure we're covering a certain degree of ground. So multimedia games, mobile app is potentially one. Engineering, maybe content collaboration. To be honest, I don't like going too granular on other people's like data, so I'll just pick the whole thing here and then probably look at industry keyword of EdTech.
It's very similar parameters that you're kind of running in both systems.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then I'm actually really happy with this because it's given me 4 people. That's like in software development, in learning, in the Bay Area with a head of title. So those 4 people should categorically be hit hard first, then maybe the next 20 to 30, and then the next broader amount. Okay, maybe if they've said it's San Francisco, Cali. So we've got San Francisco and California. So that's 6. So that's perfect. It's a small number, but it's actually like a really good number because these are all the right kinds of companies. They're all learning products and these are all heads of design.
Yeah.
So again, like there's a smaller number in here, but these people did not come up in the LinkedIn search. I think that's me doing that in 10 minutes. And a lot of people probably wouldn't do that in a month. Some people won't do that. They'll write the spec, put it on LinkedIn and see what comes in.
Yeah.
So if I'm a founder or I'm the person hiring for that role, I would want to see first, like who we made sure read this or been spoken to about it.
Yep. And I mean, even then, I think you pulled close to 130, 150 across those two. There were, what you said, 94 applicants across 3 months. So it gives you, again, a good starting point to work through a little bit more of a focused list.
Yeah.
Great. This is helpful. I think just to kind of give a quick recap, it sounded like overall job spec was pretty good. Nothing overall like alarming, at least, right? Should be getting some volume. A couple of tips on how to do that. A little more clarity on leveling, comp range. Do they commit on a location? Providing some numbers where possible. I think you mentioned like team size. Again, we said the compensation piece could potentially help with increasing the volume there. And then if a search is being conducted or not, there's hopefully some helpful tips. And, I think you found, like you said, 150 or so pretty quickly as an initial research or outreach to go from there on and build on.
Yeah.
Great. Gareth.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Hopefully this is helpful to others. Love to open this up eventually to anyone struggling with certain roles that we could use this as a kind of a funnel to help increase any traffic or search for companies that are needing it.
Yeah. It's something everybody sort of seems to do a little bit differently, and it's something that actually shouldn't be done too differently. Like the position should be very well defined. The search criteria should be well defined. Who gets targeted first should be well defined. Yeah, it's obviously something that we are trying to systematically build into a product and a process. And like, it's that kind of thinking that I think we're just lifting the lid a bit on like internal mindset. But yeah, I wonder how other people will go about it. But I think the main thing is just like, if you talk to anybody in hiring, whether it's a candidate or a client or a talent acquisition person or a founder or a CEO, like consistency is the thing everybody's craving for, right? And so I think like try to build that out it starts with like a bit of philosophy, and then it's process, and then it's like workflow. It's consistency is the most important thing, I think. And then obviously you've got to be able to adapt. But yeah, we've identified 120 people there that should be immediately notified of that position. And LinkedIn will probably do it a bit, like it will present the ad to them maybe in their feed, but you've got to hope that they're reading it or looking, which may not be the case.
Well, I think the one stat that stands out to me, and this is from a marketing standpoint, but the principle still applies. Your average LinkedIn user is on the platform maybe 1 to 2 times a month. Obviously, that's very different by industry, but if that's your average, I mean, imagine, like you said, it's just that much more difficult to get in front of the right people.
Without doubt.
Great. Well, Gareth.
Cool. That's helpful. Yeah. Cheers, Jake. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Breakout. If you want to hear more, make sure to hit subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast to be the first to get notified when future episodes are released. If you like this show or want to share feedback, please leave a review so we can keep improving and share the word with other leaders in the tech talent space. If you have suggestions for topics we should cover, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Gareth.